Terror in Paris. Masked gunmen attack a French newspaper, massacring a dozen people and sending warning shots across the globe. This is Special Report. Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. The City of Lights is experiencing darkness tonight, not seen there since the end of World War II. Paris is on high alert following a terror assault on the office of a satirical newspaper. A dozen people are dead. The shooters escaped, igniting a massive manhunt. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Ed Henry's at the White House with the Obama administration reaction. But we begin with senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Palcott live tonight in Paris. Hello, Greg.
Brett, French police confirm to us that they have identified the 3 suspects involved in this brutal shooting. It is reported that their names are Saeed and Sharif Kouachi, age 34 and 32, and Hamid Murad, age 18. There are also reports that at least one of them has a terror conviction already. And there are further reports that a police raid related to this brutal attack is going on right now in a city here in France about 90 miles from where we are. But the police tell us there are no arrests yet. Yes, the manhunt continues. Emergency crews race to the scene of France's deadliest terror attack in decades. Masked gunmen with assault rifles stormed the Paris offices of the French satirical newspaper Charlie Hebdo in a military-style attack, shouting Allah Akbar, God is great, even calling out the names of their victims. They knew who they were targeting. In a matter of minutes, they killed 12 people before escaping in a car, which was later found abandoned. Much of the stunning video came from witnesses who saw the attack as it went down.
I was on my balcony and I heard a loud noise, and then I saw an injured policeman.
The shots came from an automatic weapon, and it was quite shocking. It was as if we were in a state of war.
Many observed that the attackers were well-trained and carried out their plan calmly. French President Francois Hollande expressed sorrow and resolve in a nationally televised address Wednesday evening.
Freedom will always be stronger than barbarism. France has always defeated its enemy when it was able to rally together behind its values. This is what I'm encouraging you to do. The unity of all and everybody should be our answer.
Earlier at the scene, he had noted that several other attacks had been thwarted in France in recent weeks. The country's security alert has now been raised to the highest level, putting in place additional safety precautions.
I have asked the regional heads of police to take all the precaution measures needed at train stations and transport facilities, cultural institutions, and a certain number of public institutions. We have increased the security deployment everywhere throughout the French territory.
It's not the first time the paper's offices have been attacked. They were firebombed in 2011 after a spoof issue featured a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad on the cover. Nearly a year later, there were additional threats after more depictions were published. Among the dozen killed today, Stéphane Charbonnier, the newspaper's editor-in-chief, as well as his bodyguard. Charbonnier was an outspoken advocate for the paper amid threats of violence.
It is a religion that scares people because every time we talk about it, it is when we talk about bomb attacks done by an extreme minority.
French President Hollande also tonight declared 3 days of national mourning for those gunned down today, and no let-up in that search. Brett.
Greg Palcott live in Paris just after midnight. Greg, thank you. President Obama is calling the attack cowardly and evil. He's also calling it terrorism. But it took a little while this morning. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry has that part of the story tonight.
While President Obama hoped to focus today on cheerleading the economy in Detroit, reality intervened, and the horror in Paris left the president scrambling, as aides would not initially label it a terror attack, though the president later gathered top officials in the Oval Office to declare it was.
But I thought it was appropriate for me to express my deepest sympathies to the people of Paris and the people of France for the terrible terrorist attack that took place earlier today.
On the second day of a new Congress already dominated by veto threats, a rare opportunity for Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to join the president in expressing solidarity with France, though he also took aim at the president's long claim al-Qaeda has been decimated.
Unlike some of the suggestions that were being made as late as last year, the war on terrorism is not over.
Before expressing some of his own sorrow in French,
la liberté d'expression.
Secretary of State John Kerry noted the commitment to battle terror between two nations launching airstrikes against ISIS.
We stand with you in solidarity and in commitment.
Yet Republican Lindsey Graham charged the administration's policies are leaving the homeland exposed. Graham said the president has the right goal in trying to destroy ISIS, but added policies like releasing terrorists from Guantanamo mean the U.S. is, quote, gradually losing the ability to detect, disrupt, and prevent future terrorist attacks.
We have a visa waiver program with France, and so if we don't have track of all those individuals, they could also travel to the United States of America.
Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson expressed concern the incident shows the threat is evolving.
It is becoming a more and more complex terrorist threat.
Today, the president spoke out on behalf of the newspaper that published satirical cartoons of Mohammed.
A universal belief in freedom of expression is something that can't be silenced because of the senseless violence of the few.
Yet in an address to the UN General Assembly just days after the Benghazi terror attacks in 2012, the president was not quite as aggressive.
The future must not belong to those who slander the Prophet of Islam. But to be credible, those who condemn that slander must also condemn the hate we see in the images of Jesus Christ that are desecrated.
Now, in that speech, the president blamed Benghazi on an anti-Mohammed video, though he did add that he would not ban the video because of free speech, though a week earlier, then White House spokesman Jay Carney said the French newspaper had the ability to publish those anti-Mohammed cartoons, but he questioned the judgment of doing that, Brett.
Ed Henry live on the North Lawn. Ed, thank you. Moments ago, I spoke to the incoming chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, North Carolina Republican Richard Burr, about the attack and what we know so far.
This was well planned, well executed, and the individuals never intended to be, one, caught or two, identified. And that's certainly inconsistent with some of the lone wolf incidents that we've seen both here in the country and around the world.
You know, we're getting reports that these attackers, these terrorists, and in their military style, the way they pulled this off, they also spoke perfect French. We're hearing that foreign fighters are getting trained, going from their countries to Syria, getting trained, and then coming back to carry out attacks. Is that a likelihood here?
It's certainly a possibility, and we do know that the French government is reviewing all of their records from the airport, from any border crossings, to see if these are individuals that might be French citizens that were radicalized in Syria by ISIL or al-Nusra or any of the other groups. But here's the challenge for us, is that Europe is much more porous than the United States. And I fear that we're in a period of time where this is going to become more a weekly event, more so than what we've seen in the past, whether it's directed in Paris or whether it's another European city. And hopefully we can provide the greatest deterrent here at home to make sure that domestically we minimize our threat.
You know, Senator, French President Hollande has really stepped up the security posture there in France. Are you concerned that the U.S. is doing enough with these people that we know are fighting with ISIS overseas? You know, you hear the FBI director saying we're tracking them, but are we doing enough about them?
Brett, we're aggressively in all aspects of the intelligence community trying to make sure that we thwart attacks before they happen. We will have a massive intelligence community response to our partners throughout the world, trying to help the French out with the identity of these individuals, with the capture of these individuals, but more importantly, with finding out who hatched this plan so that we can thwart any additional attacks that may have been planned off of this single incident.
Are we winning against ISIS or losing?
Well, I think the world's losing against ISIS, and the challenge in Syria is a great one. We haven't been able to push ISIS back anywhere they have captured territory. It's a very, very difficult thing for the United States to be impactful unless we take additional steps on the part of the United States, and I'm not necessarily suggesting boots on the ground. A no-fly zone in Syria could be a game changer. These are all things that I hope the administration is considering, but every day our intelligence community globally is attempting to glean more information about what ISIL's up to, both in the Syria region, but also around the world, and most importantly here at home.
Senator Burr, thank you for your time.
Brett, great to be with you. Thank you.
You can go to my blog right now, thedailybrett.com, to see more of my interview with Senator Burr, the new chairman of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Up next, the new Senate Majority Leader blasts the president for a veto threat on the Keystone Pipeline. First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 28 in Columbus, Ohio, with a fatal shooting at the city's airport. An official says an airport police officer killed a suspect during what he termed a confrontation. It happened just outside the terminal. No word on the nature of that threat. KFOX 14 in El Paso, Texas, where authorities say the man who killed a psychologist at a veterans clinic at Fort Bliss was a retired Army soldier and former employee who had threatened the doctor before. Police say the 50-year-old shooter took his own life as well. And this is a live look at Los Angeles from our affiliate out there, Fox 11. The big story there tonight, LAPD detectives searching for a man suspected of attacking and robbing 4 women in apartment building elevators over the past 3 months. They've released surveillance video of an assault that occurred just last week. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.